I'm not saying that you are. You're trying to tell me though.
You're not telling me what has happened. You're just saying you're doing.
Still
there are
swear
other
by
pieces
it.
of legislation.
I know that.
Swear by common law. There are other pieces of legislation.
Obviously, that's a civil issue.
Of course.
And even more so if you're trying to get into buildings.
Of course.
So we just want to make sure that's not going to happen.
Welcome back to Police Pulse UK. If you're new here, hit subscribe and join the family. Drop a like, leave a comment, and let's get straight into it. This episode is sponsored by Bear Britain Audits. Check the link below and subscribe to his channel. The eye in this video, Bear Britain Audits is standing in a public place with a camera. Some warehouse workers see him and get annoyed. Instead of ignoring him or finding out if he was doing anything wrong, they start insulting him and call the police. This was completely unnecessary. When the police arrive, they already seem to think something bad is happening. They are suspicious right away, without even hearing the full story first.
You tell me, can we have a chat?
Yeah, we can have a chat here, can't we?
Yeah, we can.
Alright, cool. So all I've done today is make some video footage, and I've stuck to everywhere that I'm allowed, apart from apparently Amazon, where I wasn't allowed to step on their site.
Who's allowed you permission on the site?
No one's allowed me permission. This is all public, bro. Don't treat me like I'm silly. Yeah, I do this a lot.
You just said.
Again, identify for me as well, please.
Identify
Before you do. You do. Okay, what's yours as well, please?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Have you told me that your body worn camera's on? No, you haven't. That's part of your policy. You can clearly see that I'm filming, bro.
Okay, and you can clearly see that that's.
No, I can now.
I don't have to notify you.
You do. It's part of your policy.
No, it's not.
It's part of your policy. This has been proven before that it's part of your policy.
Stop. You just stated that you have been allowed. No,
I don't have to stop.
I'm trying to ascertain what's
I don't have to. Listen, bro. I don't want to interrupt you, but to be honest, I don't want to speak to you. Yeah, I'm going about doing my civil right. I'm allowed to go around and film in public areas.
Allowed. Who has allowed you?
My rights as a human being in this country.
And they have a right to know who is filming or taking photographic images of the building.
No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
What is surprising here is how confidently the officer gets things wrong. He acts like Bear Britain needs permission to film, but that is simply not true. Filming in a public place is a legal right, protected under Article 10 of the Human Rights Act 1998, which gives people the freedom to gather and share information. The officer also ignores his own body camera rules. Most UK police forces require officers to tell people when they are being recorded on body camera, wherever possible, to keep things transparent. But this officer brushes that rule aside. So in short, he is ignoring a rule that applies to him, while trying to enforce a rule that does not apply to the public. That double standard says a lot about his attitude in this situation.
On my way to taking someone to professional standards for exactly the same thing. Okay. Trying to trump up charges that aren't there. Yeah,
no, listen.
No, I'm not saying that you are. You're trying to tell me though.
You're not telling me what has happened. You're just saying you're doing your civil right. Doing what? Taking images.
Filming the building. The building. Amazon, look at this place. It's huge.
I know it's huge, but why? What's the reason why?
Because I like to. I don't have to tell you that.
No, I'm just trying to understand why.
But I know, but I'm going to stick to it. I don't have to tell you that. And that's, you can say that being as awkward.
How am I supposed to ascertain what's happening?
You don't have to ascertain anything until I've committed the
I've had an incident that's been called.
Have I committed an illegal offence?
Well, as far as what we've heard on the call is that there's been swearing and shouting, so I need to know who that's been coming from.
Those down there, and the video's got it to prove it.
Right, and can you show me that?
Yes, I can.
Because if you're involved in that and you've been shouting and swearing, that is an offence. That is something I need to ascertain what has happened.
Of course. Hey, you know this camera? You see this camera? It's an independent witness. Yeah, so that's another reason I film, because when stuff like this happens, yeah, when people try and say stuff happened that didn't happen, we can now go back to this footage and see, can't we?
What we've heard on the call is that there's been lots of shouting and swearing going on.
Right,
so we need to ascertain what that's in relation to. So if people, that's called public order, that is an offence, yeah? And I'm here to try and ascertain what has happened.
The officer tries to explain himself by saying he was just trying to find out what happened. But that does not match what we actually saw. He did not start with a calm, open mind. He jumped straight to assumptions and made accusations, including claiming that Bear Britain was swearing, which the video clearly shows did not happen. This is exactly why filming these encounters is so important. When an officer makes up claims that are not true, the camera is the only proof the person has to protect themselves. Without that recording, it becomes the officer's word against the public's word, and that is a very difficult position to be in. The camera does not just capture what happens, it stops false accusations from going unchallenged.
You're not being very forthright with me, and I understand why, because
I don't have to. Because I don't have to.
No, but I have to ascertain what's happened.
Yeah, but I don't have to still tell you, bro. This is what I'm like, until I commit an offence.
Okay.
Yeah? And you're saying a public order offence, yeah?
An offence has been committed.
Where is the person that feels harassed, alarmed and distressed? Where are they? Who are they? You have to have a complainant. Where's the complainant?
No, it doesn't.
Where's the complainant?
No, it has to be an assumed person. A person
Okay,
of
so
reasonable firmness. You think you know your legislation, but if you do, then
that's all you guys want to deal with is legislation. What about what you swore to when you took up your job? Wasn't that under common law? Most of that's under common law, isn't it?
That wasn't under common law.
I don't care. You guys still swear by it.
Pieces of legislation.
I know
that.
that.
Swear by common law. There are other pieces of legislation that we swear by.
Okay.
I'm still trying to ascertain what has happened. Now, what I'm saying.
And I've told you what's happened is I've done some filming and they haven't liked it.
And I'm telling you, we are aware that a public order incident has taken place.
No, how are you then? So who was it by?
So I don't know that. I'm trying to ascertain that from yourself. You were reported to be involved. I've come here. I'm trying to ask you what has happened. Now,
so how do you know that one's taken place? If you don't know who done it,
we can hear it on the call.
No one at the time, and that you're now lying. You're lying because I was filming at the time when that call apparently would have come through.
You've just said on your
No, yeah, I've caught that I haven't. No, it would have been them because it hasn't come from me. So if there is swearing on this footage, it's going to come from them. It won't be coming from me.
Once the officer brings up a public order offense, things start to fall apart quickly. Bear Britton asks a fair and simple question: who exactly was harassed, alarmed, or distressed? This is an important question because public order offenses can only apply if someone was actually affected. The officer does not give a clear answer. Instead, he waves the question off and claims a complainant is not needed, while telling Bear Britton that he does not understand the law. This is a strange argument to make, because the law is actually quite clear that these offenses depend on the impact on other people. If no one was affected, there is no offense to it. It gets worse when the officer insists he heard swearing during the phone call to police, but the recording proves that this did not happen. This is exactly why evidence matters. Without the footage, a claim like that, with nothing to back it up, could easily be used to justify enforcement action against someone who did nothing wrong. The camera, once again, tells the real story.
I don't know that.
Okay.
You're not showing me
and even that, even this footage now, I don't have to, but I will. I will, just because I can't wait to prove you wrong.
Showing me anything to the contrary.
Okay. Also, I want to know that hang on, before I show you anything.
Public order offence has been committed.
Right.
We can hear it on the phone call. Swearing and stuff is taking place in public. Now you're saying you can prove that it's not you because you have video.
And if it proves that it's them, are you going to go and deal with that?
I'm going to go have a chat with them afterwards.
Straight up, because I'll be following you to make sure that you do follow it up. Because I know how this works. If I'm swearing in here, you're going to deal with that. But if it comes back that they're swearing in it, you won't deal with that. I ain't stupid. To be honest, I want to go about my business. Am I detained? Am I detained? Am I detained?
I just need to know what's happening.
Yeah, and I'm asking, am I detained? So I'm free to go. Am I free to go?
Well, I need to confirm your identity. So
you don't need to confirm my identity. I don't have to give it you till till an offence has been committed. I do not have to give it you.
Has been committed.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. You turning up and saying an offence has been committed doesn't mean one's been
committed.
No, it hasn't.
It's been committed, and you've just confirmed it by saying you've got footage of it on your phone.
Oh wow!
You've literally just confirmed by saying I've got footage of that offence happening, a public order offence.
Okay.
Haven't you? You've just said that.
Okay.
Bear Britton asks a straightforward question: is he actually being detained? Instead of giving a clear legal answer, the officer simply says he is not happy to let him go. But that is not how police powers work. An officer's personal feelings or gut suspicions do not give them the legal authority to hold someone. The officer then shifts focus and asks for Bear Britton's personal details to confirm who he is. But demanding someone's identity only makes sense when there is a lawful reason to do so, usually connected to a specific offense or a situation where an arrest could be made. Neither of those things clearly exists here. What the officer is effectively doing is working backwards. He seems to have already decided that something wrong must have happened, and he is now trying to use the identity request as a tool to make the situation fit that assumption.
What I meant in that is, the footage here will show that I didn't at any point swear. The guy started going crazy at me, and I did actually say to him, bro, what you're doing now is a public order offence.
So potentially
that's what I said to him. So you probably heard me say that on the call.
I also need your details if you are the victim of the public order offence.
But public order offence? You think I'm going to have somebody in trouble for a public order offence? Come on, mate. Yeah.
It's just the issue becomes when you trespass, obviously that's a civil issue.
Of course.
And even more so if you're trying to get into buildings.
Of course.
So we just want to make sure that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. This guy seems to think he's going to... I don't know. You're not having my details. You're not having them. You're not having them. You might be able to take my
Me
mates.
to go over there and speak to them and take.
Don't. I've just told you I don't want you to.
Right, fine. Well, on your way then.
If I'm free to go, I'm free to stay. So I won't be going nowhere, sir. So stop, like, trying to talk down to me.
Stand here pointing that in my face.
Well, then disappear. You're the one that's approached me today, not the other way round.
Can't you? Why
I don't have to. I don't have to.
but I'm asking you.
It's a public place, and it's up to you to make privacy in a public place. So if you'd like to make privacy, then I suggest you maybe get in your 2 shiny cars with flashy lights, right, and have a conversation. But I will stay here for as long as I want. Listen, if you were to listen, if you were to listen,
being fair with people. I've been fair with you.
bro, I don't. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You haven't been fair with me. This video will show that you haven't been fair with me. No, you
I've
haven't.
not been fair with you. I've just asked you nicely to go on your way.
No, on your way. I don't have to go on my way. But anyway, enjoy your day, mate.
I will.
Fantastic.
What really exposes everything is how quickly the whole situation falls apart once the footage is checked. The original allegation, the one that started all of this, simply is not there. And at that point, the officer has nothing left to justify his actions. When the evidence clearly contradicts the claim, the conversation should be over. But instead, the officer still tries to hold on to the interaction and keeps pushing for details that no longer have any purpose. It is like refusing to admit you lost an argument that has already been settled. There is also an important principle here. Police powers cannot be kept alive on suspicion alone once the facts are known. As soon as the footage confirms that nothing happened, the legal basis for continuing the encounter is gone too, and that is what makes the ending so revealing. After all the confidence, the accusations, and the attempts to justify the confrontation, the officers eventually walk away with nothing to show for it. The camera, which was treated like the problem at the very beginning, turns out to be the thing that resolves everything. That is it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue my independent coverage. Also make sure to check out Bear Britain Audits. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some support. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audits, and I will see you in the next one.